Stitching with Chaos, and my name is Katie Cat. Today, we're out in Alaska. So in my last Flosstube, I mentioned that we only get about 4 days or 4 months of warm weather in Alaska. And I kind of wanted to go out and show you guys parts of Alaska while it was warm. And we got here and it was raining. So I'm gonna have to go find a dry place to set up my cross stitch, and I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so I found a place to put my stuff down. Unfortunately, it's not in the mountains where I had you. So I went up to Hatcher Pass, Alaska. It's in the Matsu Valley, or it's by the Matsu Valley because it's the mountains. There's Independence Mine there, and Hatcher Pass is one of my favorite places in Alaska. It is gorgeous. The scenes and the lighting dynamics, it's absolutely beautiful. But it was raining too hard. I couldn't find a spot. And it's actually starting to rain here. I'm currently in the Matsu Valley in Palmer. I hope you can see the mountains behind me. There's quite a few farmland areas where I'm at. So let's see how wet I get out here. Again, I am Katie Cat and I'm stitching in chaos, and life just throws you curves and you gotta learn to roll with it. In fact, I was reading, well, I don't read, I do read. That sounds horrible. I was listening to an audiobook. I don't often have time to sit down and read, and when I would like to be reading, I'd rather be cross-stitching. So I listen to audiobooks when I cross-stitch. And I was listening to The Snake, the Crocodile, and the Dog. It's an Amelia Peabody series written by Elizabeth Peters. Elizabeth Peters was an Egyptologist, and she wrote this series of books. There's 20 books in the series, and they are all in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, and it's all about Egypt and Egyptology and how they understood the history of Egypt back then. And there's so much work and so much research that went into these books that the facts that she puts there are historical and they're accurate, and I just enjoy it so much. It's a mystery, so they often meet murderers and thieves that are trying to rob tombs and stuff. Well, her and her husband, they're both Egyptologists, and they have a son named Ramses, and it's raining. Anyway, we'll work with it. All of my stuff is out, so we're just gonna work with it. Ramses is his nickname, and he gets into all sorts of trouble, and he's one of my favorite characters of the book. And in the beginning of this book, The Snake, the Crocodile, and the Dog, Amelia, the main character, is talking about her son Ramses, and she goes on to say, "All young boys are savages. This is an admitted fact." And I went through that whole thing to tell you, because I am the mother of 3 young boys, ages 9, 8, and 2, and I can tell you, I'm not sure they're savages, but some days you feel like it, and that's why I call myself Stitching in Chaos, is because I'm trying to enjoy my craft, my cross stitch, in a world full of chaos. Speaking of chaos, it is raining, so let's continue with this rapidly. I'm not quite sure where to start. I did get a finish, so I finished my June project. It was winter. I was concerned that I wasn't going to finish because I started late. I started middle of the month. But this is my project. It's Winter in Seasons of the Heart by the Blue Flower. I can't see my screen right now, so hopefully you can see it. I tried to edit actually my husband, he's wonderful, but he tried to edit the video, and the video editor that we were using crashed our computer. It blue screened our computer like 8 times. But we got a new video editor, and we should be able to insert pictures now. We should be able to show you my whole intro. It's kind of got this funky little tune, and it's exciting to me, so hopefully you'll see that this time. But this is my winter project, and I finished it. So now I have 2 out of the 4 finished. I have spring that I showed you last time, and I have winter that I finished this time, and we may just insert pictures because I'm not sure how well this camera is going to get the projects. So I do have 2 more in the series. I have Seasons of the Heart Autumn, and I have Seasons of the Heart Summer. And I thought about doing one of these for my July cross stitch, but I really want to cross stitch Christmas in July. I am the worst Christmas cross stitcher ever. I'm not really a seasonal cross stitcher. By the time I get excited about it, the holiday is already gone and I don't want to do it anymore. Case in point, I got this little 4th of July pattern. Super cute. I was so excited about it. Well, 4th of July, this is 4th of July. Happy 4th of July weekend. I'm probably not going to get to it, but I thought it might be fun to stitch on the 4th of July. And it's got this little freedom bell with it. It's super cute. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna just stuff everything back in my backpack so by the time I'm done, I can get it out of the rain. Yeah, so we hiked all the way up to Independence Mine, and we showed you all around Hatcher Pass. And by the time we got to the car, we were dripping. We had water coming off our noses. But I'm going to, hopefully, this time, insert some pictures of our trip so that you can see it, because it's beautiful. If you ever come to visit Alaska, or if you live in Alaska and just haven't gone out hiking, I would greatly encourage you to go to Hatcher Pass. The trails are mostly, they're like flat and easy to walk on. It's a mountain, of course, so you'll go up and down, but it's really a really cool place. So Independence Mine was a gold mine, and it's actually shut down now, and it's used as an historical site. You can see the town. They have the railway up that you can actually walk on, and then obviously some railway that you can't walk on that's dilapidated and broken down and dangerous. But it's really interesting. They have plaques up that you'll be seeing here, just telling you about the site and what it was used for, and it was really cool. Oh no, all my magazines. Okay, so I wanted to stitch Christmas in July. All my magazines are getting wet. I have too much to pick from though. So I'm sorry, it's wet now, but you'll see. I stitched the Santa for my brother a few years ago, and I thought it would be really, really fun to stitch the rest of them for the family too. So that's one of my July options, because trees grow and, you know, all these things are growing, which is the theme for Cross Stitch Camp in July. I have an aunt that loves nativity scenes. She collects them, and I really wanted to stitch one for her. I found this magazine at a thrift store, Bishop's Attic. I forgot to take the tag off. And they have the 3 wise men here, but I haven't been able to find where the actual family is. But I would love to stitch this. If anyone knows where I can find the other family part to this set, I would love to stitch that for my aunt. But in the meantime, I also found this one. And this was a really cool nativity scene that I could stitch for her. It comes in 3 panels, and I'd either have to do it on plastic canvas or use like cardboard to stiffen it up to make it a stand-up. But anyway, that would be fun. I'm sorry. I'm trying to take you through the magazines because they're getting wet, and I don't mind if my cross stitches get wet. Funny thing, but I do mind if my magazines get wet. So, I had another project. I should have found the spot in here. It was another Christmas project. I like magazines. I enjoy looking through them. I might not always do them, but magazines like this are really fun for me to look through. So a lot of my patterns will be coming from magazines. So a few years ago, I started this series. You can see it's gone through the ringer, this particular paper. I started it and got really frustrated and left it because my kids spilled play slime all over my project. You can see it's darker here. I have tried to wash it, and it's on plastic canvas. I have tried everything to get the slime out of here, and it's not coming out, and I can't continue with this. And it made me really, really sad, and so I put it in the corner. I put it in timeout. But maybe for July, I will get the patterns back out. Sorry, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are bad in Alaska. If you come, bring bug spray. At least if you come in the summer. So I was thinking about getting this back out because these were cute ornaments. Every year I try to stitch Christmas for my family so that they can have hand-stitched ornaments from me, and I don't think I've ever actually done it. I have started every year, and every year something comes up. I have problems with the beading, or I lose the floss and can't find it, or they spill slime on my project, and every year I've not been able to. So that's one of the reasons I really wanted to do Christmas for July for my summer camp project, because hopefully between you guys keeping me honest and between summer camp project, the goal that is set there to finish the project, I can finish something for my family. So these were also Christmas in July options. Again, I like to find a whole bunch of my stuff in thrift stores, so you'll see tags on them. It's such a nice place to find them. You can't find some of these patterns in stores anymore, and it's nice to recycle. So this is another nativity scene, and this is Merry Christmas. But I found this whole set of angels, and all of the angels have something different on their gowns. And I thought this might be a really fun thing to do, because then I would have one ornament for each person. There are 5 people in our family, and I have 5 angels. I have to find it. There it is. I have 5 angels. So I thought if I could find something that grows on them, like the kids, because kids grow, or the holly, I guess. If we stretch it, the holly could grow. So I thought one of those could be my summer camp projects for July. We'll just have to wait and see how things go, but I'm super excited about it. So last time I saw you, I mentioned that I wasn't going to do WIPGO anymore because my father passed away in April, and I haven't been able to stitch much since then. But I looked at my WIPGO projects. It got all wet. But I looked at my WIPGO projects, and I have finished 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 15, 22, and 25. Now I haven't finished all of those projects completely, but I've worked on them enough to finish them on my WIPGO board. And so I thought I'm actually not that far behind. I need to work on 13 for July, 21 for July, 9 for July, and then I need to work on 17 for April, 23 for May, and that's it. I only have 3 projects. Oh, and 16 for June, so 4. I only have 4 projects that I need to do, and I have July to do 3 of them because 13 was called in July, and since 13 is typically the free space, they call 3 numbers for when they get 13 instead of 2. So for me, coming up, my WIPGO projects for July will be my Dreamcatcher Dragon. You can see, remember, I'm stitching in chaos. Something got spilled on my pattern. This was an Etsy pattern that I found by a Russian designer. It was before COVID. So the reason this project got put in timeout was because it was my very first project that I tried to stitch on something other than Ada. So I have started this one, and you can see I did not get very far. Not only is this not Ada, it's also opalescent. And I want to give you some advice. If you have never stitched on something that's not Ada, do not pick opalescent for your first time. Go with something easier, like an even weave or something, Lugana, not opal. This is a linen, which means it is not necessarily even. Some of the holes will be farther away from other holes. And it's also opal, which puts a whole new complication on it. But anyway, so this was my July project for WIPGO. It's number, I put my thing down. It's number 13. So this is my 13 project for July. and I'm really looking forward to it. It's such a cute pattern. I love how the dragon looks, and I grew up in Oklahoma, and I also have Native American heritage in me, and I love everything about the Native American culture. I appreciate learning about a Native American religion. I like Southwest themes in general. And so the fact that there's a cute little snow dragon inside this amazing dream catcher, I'm really looking forward to doing that this next month. So I'm gonna pack some more things back in my backpack real quick. It stopped raining, by the way, but just in case it starts again, I'd like to pack up some things. Let's see where I'm at. That was 13. That was called for July for WIPGO. Also, oh, funny thing, my 21 WIPGO is Christmas. So me wanting to stitch Christmas in July, and WIPGO calling one of my Christmas projects for 21, and the theme of growing, which you can find a lot of things that grow for Christmas. It was really exciting to me that all of those things lined up. So we've got Christmas, and we've got my dragon, and my other thing for my July project was my vase with flowers. So I have ADHD, and I get very excited about projects, and I start them and I never finish them. This is very typical with ADHD people, and it's also as frustrating to us as it is to you. So a lot of my projects I have started and never finished, and it's very, very frustrating. In fact, I was going to show you this with my Christmas stuff, and I forgot. I started this 2 years ago for my cousin's child. That makes them my second cousin, I think. And it's in-law, so it's my husband's cousin. I ended up that year finding a different Christmas present for them, but I was going to finish it and give it to them next year just for fun. But I ended up not doing that either. So this year, since I'm stitching Christmas, I want to get this finished. It is not hard to finish. This is Santa sack. I found this pattern in a magazine. It was either Just Cross Stitch or World of Cross Stitch. I'll have to find it and let you know. And you can see it's almost finished. Like, I could almost just finish it right now. But the bottom of it is not finished. The snow still has more filler, and I have to do the snowflakes that are around Santa, and I have to finish the presents. The presents are not finished either. So if I finish just these small areas and then add the name up top, this will be completely finished, and I'm going to turn this into a Santa sack for my cousin's child. So my second cousin, or my first cousin once removed. I don't know how that works. Anyway, I thought you would like to see that. I know several of you like to stitch Santas. I don't often stitch Santas because we don't really do Santa for Christmas. So it was really fun to work on him. I loved the colors and how they work together and the shadows, so that was awesome. I'm going to take a break here from cross-stitching, just temporarily. I was gifted something, and it came to me in the mail, and it was such a precious something, and it had to do with crafting, so I wanted to show you all. My father's sister, my aunt, and her daughter, my cousin, they made me a junk journal. And if you don't know what a junk journal is, you can Google it. Say junk journal, what is the history of junk journals? Basically, back in the Depression and things like that, where people didn't have any money, ladies would find whatever they could and put together beautiful, beautiful journals. So they would find candy wrappers or receipts, grocery bags, things like that, just to make a journal out of, and it ended up looking absolutely gorgeous. So these are some of my favorite things. There's little flowers in there, and there's animals, turtle and a dragonfly, and it's so beautiful. And the thing that makes this the most special, my aunt and my cousin put this together especially for me, and they included something of my grandma's, my dad's mother. So you can see in here, it's absolutely beautiful. There's places where I can write in cards. I don't want to mess it up. There's hymns that they've included, and there's little tuck-away envelopes, and it is so beautiful. And the crowning jewel on this is right here. This pink doily, it's torn. There's places where it's not all there, and it's rusted. You can see this brown is not supposed to be there. Those are rust spots. But this doily was my grandmother's. She was an amazing woman, and I'm relatively positive she created this doily because that's just the kind of thing she did. She used to sew my summer clothes for me, and I hated them. I was such a horrible child. I hated them, and I complained about it, and why do I have to wear the clothes that Grammy made me? But I miss it so much. She just put so much love and care, and even though I wasn't appreciative at the time, I have those memories. And, you know, I just want to encourage you that have children or grandchildren, if you are doing something and putting your heart into it and loving your children through a craft or through something special you're doing and they're not appreciating it, don't give up. Because things like this really matter as you go on through life. You remember that your grandmother or your mother put such effort into that. They used to make me, my grandmother made me summer clothes every single year. She would make me shorts and she would make a matching top every single year. And that just means so much to know that she loved me. And I am so sorry I didn't appreciate it as I should have at the time. But anyway, I hope that you enjoy this junk journal because it was really special and I thought maybe it could give you a new craft if you need one. Okay, so I'm gonna put this special thing away. Back to cross stitching. So last time I mentioned that I love Be Stitch Me fabrics. They are some of my favorite fabrics. They are vibrant, they are unique, they are marbled. They're not just one color, they're shades of one color. And they're washable, which to me, mother of 3 boys, it's very important that your cross stitch and fabrics are washable. So I'm going to show you the fabric of the month that I got for last month. This is Bronze Age Be Stitch Me Lugana. They have a whole bunch of options. I got Lugana 32 count. They also have Joblin, linen, even weave, opal fabrics, which is really cool if you're more experienced. They have a whole bunch of different sizes you can choose from, and they have Aida too if you're an Aida stitcher. Isn't that beautiful? I hope you can see it in the colors. It's marbled and it's so unique, and I love, this is the neutral club. They have 2 different fabric of the month clubs. I did both because I couldn't choose. I just couldn't choose. In fact, they had to email me. They said, you put that you wanted Aida, but you wanted 32 count. Aida doesn't come in 32 count. And I had to apologize to them because I couldn't figure out what I wanted. I like stitching on Aida 16 count. It's my favorite count fabric, I think. But I also wanted to try Lugana because I enjoy stitching on Lugana. So I put both and didn't even realize it. And they had to email me, poor things. But they straightened it out and I'm getting Lugana. I may switch that up at some point in the future. But for now, I'm really happy with that. So this was Bronze Age from Be Stitch Me for last month's color of the month. And then here is the color fabric of the month. That's the neutral fabric. This is from last month, Fruit Salad. Again, Lugana, 32 count. And look how beautiful this is. Isn't that just gorgeous? I love it. The vibrant pinks. I'm not a pink person, but I sure can appreciate this fabric. The vibrant pinks and the greens, and there's some yellows in there. So when I got this, I was so excited because I had gotten a pattern, a pre-ordered pattern. I can't remember. It's from an event, the big event where all of the cross-stitch people go to, the sellers, only the vendors only, they get to come and get stuff for sale, and it's really big event. I'll have to think of the name. I can't think of it right now. But I had pre-ordered a pattern from that event, and I never got the floss for it, and I never got the fabric for it. And I thought maybe this fabric would go good with this project. So the original fabric is a lot more subtle. There's still the beautiful coloring in there, and there's the marbling in the fabric, but it's a lot more subtle. This is more vibrant. But I'm thinking if I can do a floss drop on it. Well, floss drop is when you just literally drop your floss on your fabric to see if you think it matches. So I thought I'd do a floss drop on this and see if I can do Don't Feed the Plants on this Bestitch Me fabric. I think that would look really cool. So we'll see how that goes. And today I got this month's fabric of the month. So if you're part of the Bestitch Me fabric of the month and you haven't gotten yours yet and you want to be surprised, now would be the time to turn away just for a few minutes. So this was the color of the month this time for Bestitch Me. It is Summer Sunrise. It is so beautiful. I have no idea what to stitch on this, none whatsoever. But it's in my stash now, and I have the option to. Isn't that amazing? And if you look, it looks like there are little flowers in here, just how it's dyed. It's so beautiful. Maybe I'll do a beach scene. I've been wanting to do the hot air balloon one. That won't make any sense to you. I'm sorry. There is a hot air balloon pattern. It is kind of a Quaker, but not really. There's just a whole bunch of hot air balloons on it, and it's beautiful, and it's blue, and I think that might be stunning on this fabric to have those contrasting colors. Okay, so the neutral for this month, and I just got it today, is right here. This is Catacombs, and it's darker, but it's still beautiful. It's got kind of a pinkish purplish hue to it, and it's really pretty. You're gonna hear me say that a lot. It's really pretty. I know what I want to do on this fabric. So I have a whole bunch of patterns that I haven't started yet because I have a whole bunch of other patterns started. So once I finish a few things, I have some dragons that I would love to do, and I think the earth dragon that I have would be absolutely gorgeous on this fabric. But we'll have to see how it goes in the future. Okay, so fabric of the month spoilers are over. Sorry, my back is itchy because of all the mosquitoes that are around here. They really, really like me, and I don't like them. But I wanted to be outside today, so it's the price that I pay. Oh, I didn't finish telling you about WIPGO. My other WIPGO, my last WIPGO project is vase with flowers. I'm sorry, I need to have better notes. So like I was saying, we start projects, we don't finish them. You saw the Santa. This is another one I had started that I didn't finish. This was like the third cross stitch that I have ever tried to stitch. And it was on black, and it was so complicated. So it's vase with flowers from Fine Arts Heritage Society. And what these people do, I think they're out of print, but I'm not positive. I Google everything. So Google it, Fine Arts Heritage Society. What they do is they take famous artwork and they make it into large cross stitch pieces. So this cross stitch, I was very rebellious when I was first cross stitching. I did not want to follow cross stitching rules. I thought not everyone has to do it the same way, and I'm still kind of like that to an extent. So when I get a kit, even if the fabric looks nice, I like to switch the fabric out because I don't want to do fabric that they put with the kit. I don't know why I do that. There's nothing wrong with using the called for fabrics. I'm using the called for fabrics with the Dark Earth Queen. I recently ordered the stuff for the Treasure Island Stitch Along from Owl Forestry. And I ordered the call for fabrics for that. I don't know that I'll use it. I may use some of this Be Stitch Me neutral fabrics, but I ordered the call for fabrics for the Treasure Island, so we'll see. But anyway, I forgot why I was mentioning that. Called for fabrics. Oh, because of me. Yeah, I remember why. So my point was, I was a rebel, didn't want to follow the rules, don't like called for fabrics just because I want to do my own thing. And this was in a time of my life where I thought putting all of your stitches the same way was a waste of floss, because when you're going through like confetti areas and you have to cross them a certain way, then you might spend 2 squares instead of just 1 square of floss. And I thought that's a waste of floss. I'm not wasting floss like that when I stitch. I'm just going to cross my crosses however I feel like it. And it's a mess. It's chaotic. Stitching with chaos. Fortunately, I have learned better. I don't do that anymore. It really does look nicer if you have all of your X's crossing in the same direction instead of crossing multiple directions. So that's one of the reasons I put this project down, is because when I learned that, I got really disheartened, because this whole thing, all of my progress on this, is with the stitches going haphazardly anyway, this way and that way. And so I put this project down because I didn't want to restitch the whole thing, but I also didn't want to keep going on it when it was supposed to be the stitches all in the same direction. But I thought, it's such a shame if I don't finish this, because it's such a lovely piece. It's beautiful. And I did get a lot of progress on it. So I put it on my WIPGO as something to readdress. And I am going to readdress it. This is my called for project for July. You can see, oh man, oh man, I just realized I may have to restart this stitch anyway, because it's supposed to be like this. The fabric is turned in the wrong direction. See, you need to read instructions and you need to follow the rules. They cause big problems. Oh, so I did get quite a bit of this stitched. I'm going to have to measure and see if I can continue this project or not. I may just put it in the UFO pile and never ever finish it, but that would be really sad. So you can see I got most of the shadow of the vase finished, and I've gotten some of the flowers started. We will see how this project goes. I apologize for that. But even if I don't finish this project, it was a fun project and it got me started on cross stitching, and it is like 17 years old. So and in case you were wondering, this is a Scandinavian needle work that I got. I have not started it. It's absolutely beautiful. I found it online somewhere, and at the time I was working as a teacher's aide, and my teacher was very Scandinavian and very proud of her heritage, and I got this because it reminded me of her. I did not stitch it for her, and I never planned on stitching it for her, but as you should know from watching my first Flosstube, I don't stitch things for myself to keep very often. I mostly stitch things to give away to friends or family so that they can have something to remember that someone loves them and cares about them. When my father passed away in April, I was stitching on some WIPGO projects, and I completed my goal for one of them. This is from Just Cross Stitch magazine, Take Me to the Sea, and it's such a nice cross stitch. My dad absolutely loved a lot of things. He loved a lot of things. He had a lot of hobbies. Boats and ships were one things that he really enjoyed. He loved them. So I was going to do these for my dad, and he passed away. So I'm just going to do these for me now, I guess. I don't have any other reason to do them. but they do make me happy. They do remind me of my father, and so I guess that's reason enough. So for WIPGO, I was to start the project and do the borders. So you can see, I finished the border on this project. There were 2 of them. The border is finished. The second one that I was going to do as a companion piece for this one is from this older book, Cross Stitch Country and Crafts. This is a sampler, and I don't really enjoy doing alphabet samplers, or most samplers. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm not going to stitch the alphabet. I'm going to put a different saying, like, I was going to do the ocean blue, but then that made me laugh because the ocean here is green, so I wasn't going to do the ocean blue. Someone suggested I just do ocean, and that's a good option. I'm going to have to think about that for a while, but I did start this for my WIPGO as a companion piece for the Take Me to the Sea option. My father passed away before I could finish the border. So I am going to have to figure out whether I am emotionally stable enough to continue on these cross stitches or if I need to wait a little while. But I did want to show you because this is part of my WIPGO. I'm so sorry. I got bit on my back quite a lot and it's very itchy. So this is on Be Stitch Me fabric, and I think this is also Be Stitch Me fabric, but I don't have the tag on here, so I can't tell you what kind. But this is Rainy Day Be Stitch Me fabric. It's Lugana, 28 count. I'm trying to get this there. This is much bigger than the other one. Normally, when you do companion pieces, the pieces are about the same size. This one is much bigger. So you can see the size difference here. But I think it's okay because I think having that asymmetry there will be very interesting hanging up on a wall. And this one is a lot more complicated. It has a ton of quarter stitches and half stitches, and it just makes it look much more interesting. The knots look realer and have more definition. Now I did change the colors on this one. I changed out this blue to a darker blue because you can see this blue here is not the blue that I used because it blended in with the fabric too much. You couldn't see it with the fabric, and I really wanted to do it on a blue fabric because of the companion piece aspect. I wanted to do this on a greener fabric, not bright green like the water, but a greener fabric so that they're more of a companion piece. See it? So this one's on the blue to match the stitching, and this one's on kind of a greener fabric to match the water that will be in this one. So those are companion pieces. I have marked them off of my WIPGO board, even though I did not meet my goal, because I did quite a bit of stitching. And it's my board and my rules. That's what she always says. Your board, your rules. And so since I did make so much progress on this, I've gone ahead and just marked them off of my WIPGO for now. So, last but certainly not least, I get to show you my project. Oh, I'm sorry. Progress. My progress. That was such a hard word for me to remember. I get to show you my progress on my whips that I showed you last time. So you saw that I finished my June project. That was one of the things that I was working on. This is my Saturday project. This is Thy Word, and it was produced in a leisure arts pamphlet. Scripture, something, stitching in scripture, something in scripture. And the reason it's called Thy Word is because in this cross stitch hoop, you stitch out Thy Word is a lamp unto my feet. You do that in back stitching. But this is my progress. I've done quite a bit. So last video I said that these scissors were off. I don't know if you can see it. These scissors were off about 1 stitch, and I have sectioned off the whole area and I have finished stitching that area. So now everything will be fine. I don't have to figure anything out anymore because it's all adjusted where it needs to be, and I can just go ahead and keep stitching on the piece. See, when you mess up, it doesn't have to be the end of your cross stitch. You can adjust and figure out how to make it work, and I'm so excited that this did. So this one's for my mother. This one was one of my WIPGOs, and I thought I was so close to finishing it, I should just keep going. I did not end up finishing it. I'm not enjoying stitching on this one. I thought I would, but I'm not. I don't know if it's the fabric. It's not the pattern, because the pattern is brilliant. I love this pattern. She cracks me up. It says, "Women who behave rarely make history." And I love it so much, but I just am not enjoying stitching it. So it's been pretty slow going. I normally stitch in hand. But because I wasn't enjoying this, I wanted to give myself some more encouragement and to make it a little bit easier. So I put it in a hoop to stretch out the fabric so that I didn't have to work so hard on stitching it. So hopefully next time you see me, this will be finished. Well, maybe not next time you see me, but next time I show you my whips, this will be finished. All I have left to do basically is a little bit in her hair, and then I have to stitch out the skull, and I'll be finished because the words are already back stitched and everything and ready to go. I do have to back stitch this ribbon a little bit, but that's not hard at all. So yeah, hopefully this will be finished next time you see it. That one is for my mother-in-law. She is a very unique woman, and I really think she'll appreciate that. She'll enjoy it. I want to fully finish it into a pillow, but she wants a wall hanging. Well, according to my sister-in-law, she would appreciate a wall hanging. So what I'm going to do is finish it into a pillow and then use some cord to make a hanger out of so she can just hang the pillow on the wall. And this is the project I've been working on the most. This is Dark Queen of the Earth. I did not bring something big enough to show you. So I've been working on this, trying to catch up. It's a mystery stitch along, and tomorrow we get the second to last installment for this. And I was about 4 months behind earlier this month. Now I'm about 3 months behind, but I'm still very far behind. So here she is, Dark Queen of the Earth. We might take a picture to show you better. So I did tell you what I was planning on doing with her. I still need to make the carrion beetles down here. I still need to figure out how to add a shoe bill. And a lady in the Facebook group for this cross stitch recently posted her pattern of a moth that she added. So the corners are finished in some wooden vines, but she didn't want to use the wooden vines, so she finished her corners with some moths in the corner, and it looks really nice. I think I would prefer probably to have the wooden vines, but the moth is beautiful. So I was thinking about where I could incorporate a moth into this one. We'll have to see. So I did tell you that I was going to do her arms and add a snake. I did not realize how much stitching I had to do until I got to her arms if I'm doing this according to how each section was released. So I finished her bodice, I finished this area over here, and then I had to do this whole bow right here, and I'm about halfway through stitching. It's 2,800 stitches in the bow. So I have done quite a lot of it. You can see the outline. According to the stitch number, I like to use Pattern Keeper, and according to the stitch number on Pattern Keeper, I'm about halfway through with this. So hopefully I can catch up with this, and then the piece right after this is the arms, and I start on her skin color. So that will be super, super fun to do. And I think that's all I have for you today. It was a lot more than I thought I would have for you. I'd like to see you again in 2 weeks-ish. Don't quote me on that. I was able to come out with you today because my older boys are at summer camp. They come back Sunday. I'm super excited. But with all 3 of my kids, I'm not sure that I will be able to come have this adventure with you. So the whip parade will probably be in my living room while the boys are sleeping at nighttime. So today, I'm recording this Friday, June 30th. You'll probably see it tomorrow or Sunday. Anyway, so thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for following me and for liking my channel and for supporting me as a new Flosstuber. I hope you've enjoyed what you see. If you would like to leave a comment, I would love to read it and get back to you. Let me know if you like being outside. If you guys like being outside, I'll make more of an effort to take you outside more often. If the bugs are too distracting or you got stressed out with my projects getting rained on, let me know that too, and I'll try not to be outside next time. Just remember, life is chaotic and you gotta have fun with it. So, a little bit of encouragement, keep your chin up in all this chaos. Have a good July. Bye.